All right. What's going on, everybody? All right, so gonna be ranking the 31 on 31. These are the big three slasher icons: Jason, Michael, and Freddy, as you can see there. Okay, so I've seen a few videos on YouTube that have already done this, but it's Halloween today. Happy Halloween, everybody! Hope everybody's doing freaking awesome. And here we go. I'm gonna rank all 31 films, shittiest to best, and it's gonna be fun as hell. I already did a ranking video of these three guys right here, Jason, Michael, and Freddy, on separate videos already. I did them live on stream. This one I'm doing a recording because reasons and stuff. So before I start, like, comment, subscribe, do all that crazy shit. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all the help and all that stuff. And in the meantime, let's rank these bitches. So um, if you want me to go into detail, just watch my ranking videos from the previous streams that I did on all three of these guys. I'm not really going to go into super detail for the ranking here. This is more or less going to be me, off the cuff, just giving my 2 cents on each film and, going by each film pretty quickly. But this is going to be fun as hell. It's Halloween. Got to do something cool for it. I'm pretty stoked. So here we go. 31 on 31. We're going to start it off with the absolute biggest turd in all three of these franchises. The one film that legitimately just pissed me right off, made me actually walk out of the theaters when I saw it. This bitch right here. Halloween 2, 2009. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. I don't like this film even a little bit. This film legitimately made me angry. I left the theater mid-frickin' movie. I ended up watching it again, front to back, like a year later. But I was genuinely pissed off watching this frickin' film. Still am to this day. Rob Zombie, not only did he ruin Michael, he ruined the mask by making it torn in half. Michael isn't even wearing the mask for most of the film. He ruined Laurie by making her a whiny bitch. Considering, yeah, she's gone through some torment and some bullshit in her life. Yeah, I get it. But in H2O, she's a badass, strong, independent female. Same in 2018. But in this film, where she's gone through basically the same kind of, mental torment and shit from Michael Myers, she's just a whiny, unlikable character. And just horrible script. And then he ruins Dr. Loomis all at once. So he not only ruins the three main characters of this film, but he ruins the mask, and the writing is terrible. The white horse shit is forced. It's a complete mockery of the Halloween franchise. Nothing good about this film. This is easily the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. I'm talking movies, period. Fuck this movie. It is absolute shit. No one should ever watch it. Rob Zombie, please never direct another fucking Halloween movie ever again. Next, number 30. Freddy's Dead. This thing is shit. This movie sucks ass. Nobody should like this film. It's pretty much the same as Halloween 2 in that it makes a mockery of Freddy. The whole film is like a mockery of Freddy. This movie pissed me off too. Had I seen this in theaters in 91, I was only a year old at the time, so it couldn't really happen. But had I seen this in theaters in 91, I probably would have walked out of there too. This movie genuinely pissed me off as well. Freddy's a joke. The backstory kind of saved this a little bit. They gave Freddy a bit of a backstory, which was somewhat interesting, kind of. Besides the whole daughter thing, which is totally out of left field, and I didn't like that at all. Um, yeah, they really could have done this film a lot better than it ended up being. It is complete unwatchable garbage. Freddy looks like shit. The characters are unlikable. The writing is bad. There's no good kills. Maybe the deaf guy getting killed. Besides that, everything's just trash. Looney Tunes references, Wizard of Oz shit. Nah. Freddy deserves better than that. This film completely ruined him as a character. Full-on comedic Freddy is never a good thing, and he's way past the level of full-on. He's just straight up a joke. Never make fun of your killers. Never fucking do that. Come on. Halloween 2, 2009, and Freddy's Dead both end up basically directly and indirectly making fun of their killers. Inexcusable. This film's unwatchable. Never watch this piece of shit. Number 29, Jason Goes to Hell. the most watchable of the absolute piles of shit. But there's no Jason in this movie. It sets in play Freddy versus Jason, which is cool, I guess. Whatever. At the end of the film, where Freddy's glove comes up and drags Jason's mask down, that kind of redeems this film a little bit for me. But no Jason in the movie. The kills are done by people that don't even look like Jason because he's body swapping the whole time. This is a body swap movie. This is not a Friday the 13th film. It's horribly acted. It's horribly written. There's so many mistakes and just glaring fucking shitty editing situations in this film that are just completely they didn't seem to give a shit when they made this thing. Kudos to Adam Marcus for trying something else. He directed this film. I like him as a director. I like him as a person. He seems pretty down to earth and interesting in his interviews, and he has a lot of really positive things to say about this film to try to up it in its quality a little bit. But for me, sorry man, it's the worst in the franchise. I skip it pretty much any time I watch the Friday franchise. Just can't get past the fact that Jason's a fucking deadite slug, body swapping all the time. It's pretty badass that he survives being blown up by the FBI. You know, it goes to show how much punishment Jason can actually take. Jason's a fucking beast. But did you have to make him a fucking deadite slug that gets resurrected by, going into his dead sister's vagina? That we didn't even know he had a fucking sister? Like, this is the 9th film of the franchise? Nah, just really sloppy. They're trying something different, and it just kind of fell flat. Jason Goes to Hell, not the worst film on this list, but I mean, it's number 29, so it's still shit, and nobody should watch it. Fuck it. Number 28, Nightmare on Elm Street Remake. They really fucked Freddy on this. Jackie Earle Haley did the best he could with what he had. The script was atrocious. It was terrible. The acting, nobody seemed to give a shit except for Katie Cassidy. God, and Jackie Earle Haley, obviously. He's a great Freddy Krueger. He did a good job filling Robert Englund's shoes, but the script he had to work with was just shit, and they made Freddy an all-out pedophile in this movie. It was just, why did you go and do that? So many issues with this film. It is pretty much unwatchable. I don't ever watch this when I'm watching the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise and I'm doing a marathon. I never watch this film. It's the latest film of the franchise, and I really hope they get into making a new one soon, because my God, it sucks that this is the latest film here, and it's almost as bad as Freddy's Dead. Well, maybe not almost as bad as Freddy's Dead, but it's pretty damn, it's next to Freddy's Dead on the Nightmare on Elm Street scale for me. This movie sucks. Jackie Earle Haley, you're a great actor. You did a great job as Freddy. But Rooney Mara didn't give a fuck. She's Nancy. If you're playing Nancy, you should probably give a fuck. You're supposed to be the person we're rooting for this whole film. She did not give two shits about this film. She outright states that. My English. Fuck. She states that. She didn't give a fuck. She did it for the paycheck. And you can tell. It shows right on screen. We should have had Katie Cassidy play Nancy. She would have been fucking great for that role, I think. So much for that, though. Yeah, damn shame. Let's make a new Nightmare soon, please, so we can kind of forget about this piece of shit. All right, number 27, Jason X. You can find some entertainment here. Mostly the fact that it exists is entertaining. Why the fuck they thought it was a good idea to put Jason in space is beyond me. This is non-canon to the franchise, so you do not ever need to watch this film. This film basically never happened. It never took place. Jason X, it's a mess. It has one good kill, and that's pretty much it. I almost struggled to put this below Jason Goes to Hell. They're like neck and neck in terms of Friday the 13th quality films to me. I think Uber Jason is what saves this film for me, putting it just above Jason Goes to Hell, because I kind of like the design of Uber Jason, and I like how he is more of a tank once he gets all metallic and shit. But there's really nothing to save this film. It's shit. Jason looks terrible. He looks like a dude wearing a hockey mask. He doesn't look like a deformed zombie, beefy creature, which he should. So, Jason X, trash, has some entertaining scenes, but besides that, it's fucking terrible. None of these films up until we get to, 24 or something, 23 are even remotely watchable. So there's nothing really good to be said about any of these films. Again, you want some detail about this stuff, just go in and watch my Friday the 13th ranking videos and my Halloween and my Nightmare on Elm Street ranking videos. They're in the description and shit. Yeah, in description below. Check them out. Number 26, Halloween Resurrection. This film is on the bottom of everybody's Halloween list, but as for the absolute turds of both franchises, um, the bottom two films of each franchise in this list are all absolute atrocities and total shit. I'd say Resurrection is the most watchable. It just looks better quality in terms of the film itself. It still makes fun of the character Michael Myers with the whole Busta Rhymes thing and the jokes that are made at Michael's expense twice in the movie with the whole, fucking. I don't like that at all. It was a terrible design for the film itself. So Busta Rhymes was just a bad choice for this film. What they did with Busta Rhymes was horrible. Making jokes at your killer's expense is unacceptable. Don't do that. And the main protagonist here, Sarah, she's a really bad actress. No offense to her, but she can't scream. She's just not interesting. The whole, this is for so and so, this is for so and so, this is for all of them with the chainsaw and all that shit. Just cringeworthy fucking dialogue. Showing Michael's eyes as much as they do in this film. Just so many mistakes, so many mishaps. Killing Laurie Strode off in an unceremonious way as they did in the first 15 minutes of the film is just, it's a slap in the face to the fan base. So Resurrection may be the most watchable of the shit pile, but it's still a shit pile, and nobody should watch it. It sucks. Okay, number 25. Well, you can't see it because my fat head's in the way, but let's see. Shit. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. We're 25. Yeah, just this is not, well, like I said, it's not the worst in the franchise, but certainly not anywhere close to even good quality. Tina is the most unlikable character in all three of these franchises, I would say, probably. There's a good chance she is. Unceremoniously kill off Rachel. Again, what is with the Halloween franchise and doing that to the characters that we love and the final girls that are actually, beloved by the fan base as a whole? There's a cool scene where Jamie's getting stalked through, and she's in the laundry ducts, and Michael is stabbing through the vents with his knife, trying to get at her, and she's trying to avoid him by climbing up and going down the duct, and she evades him that way. It's a pretty cool scene. I like it. It's the only good scene in the movie, really. Besides that, there's so much crap with this film. It's pretty damn boring, to be honest. Halloween 5 just misses the mark in a lot of ways between the annoying character of Tina, how boring the majority of the film is, making Jamie a mute, making Sam Loomis a bit of an asshole through the whole thing. Like, this is the shittiest Sam Loomis that we get in terms of the Donald Pleasance Sam Loomis. So, just a lot of mistakes on Halloween 5's part. Not a good film at all. I don't watch it really. I can't justify ever putting this movie on. I'm not a big fan of this one at all. It's pretty fucking bad. That's why it's number 25. Doesn't belong any higher than this. Still not as shitty as the other ones I already mentioned, but still freaking terrible. And Michael's mask, my god, that piece of shit. Okay, number 24, Jason Takes Manhattan, Friday the 13th, Part 8. Part 8 is a lot of people's least favorite Friday movie, and I can't argue that, really. You could easily put this at the bottom. For me, it's just slightly more watchable than Jason X, as far as Friday goes. And it's more entertaining for me than the other movies I've already mentioned, because at least we get Jason, and we're getting some kills, and, he's got that cool kill where he punches Julius's head off on the roof, which showcases a crazy amount of strength for Jason. I always like it when they make Jason look like a beef bus. It's awesome. Jason's a force and easily the strongest of the three of these characters. And, it's nice to see him getting some love that way. But really, besides that head punching off kill, There's nothing cool about this movie. I like the guitar kill he does as well. 'Cause I'm a heavy metal guy, so that's pretty sweet. But besides that, this movie sucks. The way he dies at the end, the way he looks with his mask off, uh, the way that it's not even filmed in Manhattan, it's actually filmed in Vancouver. There's only one shot of him in Times Square in the whole film. He's on a cruise ship for the majority of the film, so it's not actually him taking Manhattan really at all. It's a trash film. There's no reason to watch this one if you're going through a Friday the 13th marathon. Just watch 1 through 7, and then I don't know, Freddy versus Jason and the remake. Avoid 8, 9, and 10. You don't need to watch any of them. They're all shit. Um, Jason can crazy teleport like crazy in this movie. It's kind of weird, but it totally introduces that aspect of his character, which is strange. But I guess I'll take it. Fuck it, whatever. It's Jason being Jason in a shitty movie. What can you say? 23, Part 5, Friday the 13th, Part 5. Roy Burns, no Jason in this film. Um, Not even just judging the film on its own merits without the whole no Jason thing. It's just a bad Friday film. Interesting kills, sort of. I guess nothing compared to Part 3 and 4, though. The kills are just kind of mediocre as far as quality in this film compared to those films. So, it's a step down from 3 and 4. There is no Jason. The characters are virtually all unlikable. There are funny scenes with some of the, with Edna and her son. Besides that, it's all trash. Tommy Jarvis is a shell of his former self. He barely utters 3 words this whole freaking film. There's Reggie the Reckless, the little kid. He's pretty cool, but he's the only likable character in the movie. It has the worst final girl in the franchise. If you ask me, Pam is just useless. She's not even going up against Jason, and she just gives up. That really pisses me off when she's just laying on the ground. He's got the machete ready to go, standing over her, and she's just like, "Fuck it, I got them done." And, it's just fucking not a final girl trait at all. Pam sucks. Hot as fuck, but Pam just sucks as a final girl. She got lucky. So, and it's inexcusable not to have Jason. I mean, there's 3 freaking films in the Friday the 13th franchise, if you count Part 9, where Jason is either not featured at all or barely featured, and they're all weak films in the franchise, if you ask me. Jason needs to be in the damn movie. Like, come on, he's the main antagonist. They don't neglect Michael or Freddy nearly as much as they neglect Jason in his franchise. It sucks. But yeah, Part 5, it's good in some people's books, but it doesn't belong any higher than 23. I won't skip it every time I do a Friday the 13th marathon, but I still skip it, I'd say 80% of the time. It's not, you don't need to watch it. After Part 4, you go from Part 4 to Part 6, and it's totally seamless. Part 5 is never even really mentioned. Once it's besides the movie itself, it's never really mentioned ever again. So it's just kind of useless. It's just there, and it's not a good quality Friday film. Number 22. You can't see this shit again. Wonderful. 22 is Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. Again, kind of like Friday 5. It's terrible, but it's not completely unwatchable. Freddy looks pretty terrible. The makeup is awful. The kills are not the greatest, but it does have a pretty amazing kill in terms of the one that Dan goes through on the motorcycle. One of the most memorable kills in the franchise. Pretty cool, pretty fun. But the film itself is nothing special. The characters are unlikable, bad writing. Freddy is just full-on comedic Freddy in this film, and it's not appealing to the majority of the fan base, myself included. I like my Freddy scary, with a couple of funny quips here and there, but this is just straight on. He's nonstop talking shit the whole movie, which is fine at times, but it's just too overboard. He's cartoony here. This whole Super Freddy thing is dumb. The comic book kill is ridiculous. The eating or feeding the model to death is stupid. I didn't care much for this movie. I won't skip it again. I won't, like Friday 5, I won't skip this film every time I do a Nightmare Marathon run, but I really tend to enjoy this one the least when I do a Nightmare Marathon. I have a really hard time getting through this one, and it just looks depressing. It's just dark and gothic and in a bad way. Sometimes that image kind of works, but just not in this case. Nightmare 5, definitely one of the worst nightmares in the franchise, and doesn't belong any higher than 22. Next is 21. Got Rob Zombie's Halloween remake. Um, I'll take it over the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, but that's not saying much considering that movie's a piece of shit. This is, like I said in my detailed Halloween ranking list, uh, terrible first act, complete Rob Zombie horse shit just spewed out on the screen. Um, the dialogue and the writing is just atrocious. The second act is a rehash and literally reshots of the first film. So when you're watching the second or the second act of this film, it's like, why wouldn't you just watch the original movie, one of the best horror movies of all time? You're watching this piece of shit instead. And then the third act is somewhat entertaining with a kind of a healthy mix of John Carpenter meets Rob Zombie. Um, the good aspects of this film are definitely the John Carpenter related aspects, and the shit parts are all Rob Zombie related. And who the fuck puts a rape scene in a Halloween film? I don't know who the hell thought it was a good idea to hire Rob Zombie, knowing damn well what he's like with House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects and all that shit, to direct this thing, but they fucking screwed up. And this movie, besides the uh, Halloween sequel to this film, this was the closest I ever actually came to walking out of the theater, watching this in theaters, because I was sitting through that first act with Michael as a kid, giving Michael as a backstory like that, just a generic, oh, obviously he's this way because of, why wouldn't he be, because of this fucking horrible child upbringing. It's just the most, completely ruins Michael's mystique, completely misses the point of Michael Myers and how he's not supposed to have a motive and that he just snapped one day and he is how he is for no reason. That's the reason we fear him, and this film shits all over that concept. So why even bother giving this film the time of day? It ruins Michael Myers. All the bad films in these franchises ruin the characters that we're supposed to love, and this film is one of them. It shits on Michael Myers' legacy. The only reason it's entertaining is because it has John Carpenter elements. Like I said, the second half and like half of the third act. Those elements boost this up in quality for me. But everything Rob Zombie about this film is unwatchable trash. So can't believe this fucking thing got made. But this is when the remake craze is all the rage. So is what it is. Not the worst in in these three franchises, but still pretty unwatchable. Number 20 is Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. Actually, a pretty damn good quality film. In terms of filmmaking, it's entertaining. It has a pretty okay story. Kind of an unbelievable thing with the whole masks, killing kids during a commercial on Halloween Day, and the Silver Shamrock theme just gets stuck in your head, and it's a piece of shit. I hate that freaking theme, but it's stuck in your head. Uh, uh, Tom Atkins is cool, I guess. He's an interesting protagonist. Michael Myers is not in this movie at all. He has a little cameo in the bar when Tom Atkins is getting drunk, and you see the Halloween 1 trailer being played on the TV in the back there. That's the only little tiny glimpse of Michael Myers in this entire film. Besides that, he's not anywhere to be seen. So, you get your villain, Colonel Cochran, who's got these robots working for him that are killing people as well, and then the masks killing the kids, and Stonehenge, and Samhain, this festival of Samhain. He's just completely obsessed with that shit. Just weird writing. Not the biggest fan of it. I don't mind this movie so much. I'll watch it sometimes, but when I'm in the mood to watch a Halloween film, I skip this one because it's not a Halloween film to me. I'm sorry, but no Michael Myers is a huge deal. I don't care when people say like, "Oh, you're only fucking rating it so low because there's no Michael Myers." Well, no Michael Myers is like, do you need any other reason? Michael is the main reason we watch these Halloween films. At least that's my opinion. And when you don't have a Michael Myers character in your Halloween film, then you don't have a Halloween film. So, uh, like I said, if this movie was just called Season of the Witch, in terms of writing and horror quality, it's not bad. But as far as these franchises go, it doesn't belong any higher than 20 because no Michael. It just completely uh, erases that character from existence. I mean, the Halloween film is being shown as a trailer in this film. So in this film's universe, Halloween 1 and 2 are just movies. Doesn't even take place in the same universe as Halloween 1 and 2. So yeah, it's I don't know. This is the boat. They try to do something different. They try to make it an anthology. Anthology. Fucking can't speak today. They tried to make it an anthology with this film, and it just fell on its face. It's developed a cult following these days, but I'm not one of those members. It's an okay film, but I'm not going to watch it when I want to watch a Halloween movie. I'm going to watch one of the better ones. So some people love it, and I get it, but not me. Okay, number 19, Friday the 13th, the original. Yeah, I think it goes without saying that this is the worst original of the three. I mean, come on now. Friday the 13th, 1980 was good. It kicked the doors wide the fuck open for the slasher genre to evolve. After Halloween kind of started the whole thing, Friday the 13th put it in motion at full force and added some gore elements to it and really cool, elaborate kills and more suspense that way. Harry Manfredini's score is unreal, but besides that, this movie's really, really fucking boring. And people who have it higher on their lists, they're kind of missing the point of the whole Friday the 13th franchise. The movie's boring, no Jason, except for the end dream sequence, which he's only a kid in that sequence. His mother is the killer. She's a pretty effective killer. She's scary in her own way, but the whole whodunit thing is kind of ruined by the fact that we're not even introduced to her until the third act of the film. So here we are trying to guess who it is this whole time, and then it ends up being someone we haven't even seen on screen yet. So the whole thing is kind of rendered moot for that reason. So she's just. I like Pamela Voorhees. Betsy Palmer is top tier. She's awesome, but as far as a true Friday the 13th film goes, yes, this may be the original. Yes, this may have been their original vision. But the Friday the 13th franchise we know and love is about Jason Voorhees killing naked teenagers, and we love it for that. And this has Jason's mom killing teenagers. So, again, movies that don't feature the main killer, I'm not going to put them very high on this list, just for that reason. I think it's more than fair to do that. We watch these films for these killers, not to not see these killers. This is still a quality film. I think this is the first truly good quality movie on this list. I don't think people should skip this one when they're watching the Friday the 13th marathons or stuff like that. I still enjoy this movie, but it's really only above the bottom four in terms of this franchise. And 19, as far as the three franchises, is where I think it should sit. And that's pretty fair for such a boring film, to be honest. Friday the 13th, Part 1, good film. Don't skip it. But no higher than 19. 18, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Yeah, I enjoy this slightly over Friday the 13th. I like the atmosphere, to be honest. Michael Myers is pretty damn brutal in this movie. If we're talking the theatrical version, which we're going to talk because I don't like the whole fucking runestone bullshit, Michael impregnating Jamie crap that we see in the producer's cut. No, this is the theatrical version, and that's it. As for the theatrical release, Michael is brutal as hell. I love his kills when he kills all those doctors. In the third act there, he just goes fucking nuts on a huge massacre. Michael gets probably the most kills in this movie that he does in any of his films, besides maybe 2018. He's just a beast in this film. And George P. Wilbur is a fantastic Michael Myers, and the mask looks amazing. Besides that, the characters are forgettable. Kara is the main protagonist in this film. She's the final girl, and she's completely out of left field. She's just a Strode family member. that we're just introduced to for the first time in this movie. Jamie Lloyd is just kind of stomped over and just forgotten about, and is replaced on screen by Kara as as the main final girl here, and she's a whatever character. She's forgettable as hell. Her performance was good, but the character was written poorly. I thought Tommy Doyle as Paul Rudd as Tommy Doyle was funny, but he just seemed to not give a shit in this movie. His acting is kind of whatever. Um, Rest in peace, Donald Pleasance. This was his last performance ever. Kind of sucks that he had to go out with kind of a whimper, considering this film is kind of a whimper. But uh, still did a great job. Sam Loomis is back to being Sam Loomis. He's not fucking Dr. Loomis from Halloween 5, or he's a bit of an asshole. He's the good Dr. Loomis again. But it's it has its ups and downs. It's middle of the road for me. I like Halloween 6, but I don't think it belongs any higher than this. Honestly, I am on the fence when I'm doing a Halloween marathon if I'm going to watch this one or if I'm going to skip it. A lot of the time, I find myself skipping it, like 50% of the time. It's just it's okay, but it's not. We're not quite in the true quality movies yet, as far as like the good shit in these franchises is concerned. We're not quite there yet. Halloween 6 still kind of sits more on the shit aspect, or on the shit end of the spectrum, than the good end of the spectrum. So, great atmosphere, though. Gotta give it that. And good ass Michael Myers. All right, number 17. Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. Again, sitting more on the shit end of the spectrum than the good end of the spectrum, but it has good things going for it. It's visually stimulating. The kills are pretty elaborate, except for the freaking invisible Freddy karate kill. That was bullshit. Freddy's full-on comedic Freddy in this film for the first time. In Nightmare 3, it was a perfect blend of comedic Freddy meets scary Freddy. In this film, there's no scary Freddy to be seen. And that's why it's ranked so low to me. And the fact that they didn't have a plot for this movie, they just kind of, wrote it as they were filming it. Like, I'm surprised it even turned out as well as it did. Because I don't mind this movie, actually. I think it's pretty entertaining. But I don't think it's a good movie at all. It's shit quality Nightmare on Elm Street with some entertainment value to it. I don't really skip it on a Nightmare marathon, but it's definitely not as good as it should be, considering how amazing Part 3 was. Kind of a whimpery follow-up to Part 3, which is arguably a masterpiece. So, and what they did with Kristen, recasting her as Tuesday Night, that was so stupid. And then killing her off unceremoniously in the beginning. Whatever. Alice is a cool final girl, though. You got to give her that. I like Alice. Pretty sick. And the fact that she comes back in the next film in Nightmare 5, great. She's a likable character, likable protagonist. Good match for Freddy. The way Freddy dies with looking at his own reflection in the mirror, I never really understood that, but I think it was it had something to do with. No, I'm not even going to try to justify it. It's fucking stupid. It makes no sense. But it is what it is, and we got what we got, and it's the most successful movie in the franchise besides the remake and Freddy vs. Jason. Made the most money. So, hey, kudos to this movie for that, but, you can find some entertainment here. Freddy is interesting here, but it's not the good Freddy. It's not the scary Freddy that we all know and love. So, take it or leave it. Nightmare 4, middle of the road. Doesn't belong any higher than 17. All right, number 16. Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. Okay, I'd say from here on out, we probably got, it's pretty damn good movies. From 16 on, we're at pretty much the halfway point now. 16 on, great quality. I really like this film. More than a lot of people do, I think. Part 7 is super entertaining to me. Jason is a total powerhouse in this movie. Like I said earlier, I like it when they demonstrate Jason's physical abilities and how intense he is. And this film does a great job at showcasing that. Jason is a beef bus in this film. He takes a shit ton of punishment. The dude gets lit on fire, hanged, blown up. electrocuted, has a roof fall on him, gets dropped from, pretty much an attic level to a basement level, and gets a bunch of nails shot through his fucking head and shit, and he just gets the shit kicked out of him by Tina, who's got these psychic powers and is able to fend Jason off more than any other antagonist or any other protagonist he's fought before. Gives him a run for his money. He still, kicks a lot of ass in this movie. His kills are pretty cool. Aside from the NPAA butchering this film and ripping all the kills to shreds, you don't really see any of the good shit. But he's still a badass. I love Jason in this movie. The characters are forgettable trash. There's nothing special about any of them except maybe Tina. And, that's really the negatives about it. It takes place at Crystal Lake, so it's still got some of that classic Friday the 13th vibe to it with the twist with the psychic shit. I like it. I think it's a good film, worth watching. Friday the 13th Part 7. Not the best, for sure not the best, but not as bad as a lot of people say, and a lot of people talk so much shit about this film. I don't really see the reason for that. Kane Hodder's performance as Jason is top fucking notch in this film. Great fucking Jason performance. Definitely the best of his 4 performances in Part 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yeah, just a quality Friday the 13th film. I don't think anybody should skip this on a marathon, for sure. It's a good movie. All right, number 15, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So in each of these franchises, there's at least one film where the main killer is not featured. In Friday, it's Part 5. In Halloween, it's Part 3. And in Nightmare, it's Part 7. This one. There is no Freddy Krueger in this movie, barring, Robert Englund showing up on the talk show dressed in full Freddy makeup and all that stuff. But he's just portraying Freddy on a talk show, on a reality show. So it's not really the same thing. Freddy Krueger himself is here aesthetically and nothing further. He's not actually Freddy Krueger here. He's a demon portraying Freddy Krueger and trying to break into the real world and kill people. And so he's completely absent from the film. Freddy is not here, which I thought is kind of, has its ups and downs with that whole concept. Freddy is still, the Freddy that we get. He's menacing as hell again. He's scary again. He has only 2 kills, though, in this whole movie, which is kind of shitty, and they're both kind of rehashes. The first kill is like the Dan kill in Part 5, and the second kill he does is like the Tina kill in the original. So they're not even original concept kills. So there's nothing special there. But you gotta love Heather Langenkamp's performance here. John Saxon does a great job here. Wes Craven does a great job here. I mean, like the movie is an interesting concept, super meta, really well filmed, really well written for the most part. Well performed, but just kind of misses the mark on some of the important aspects that we need in a Nightmare movie, like better kills, more of a quicker pace. It's kind of slow. This movie's pretty slow in a lot of areas. Kind of loses you here. The kid who plays Dylan, he's in the Pet Sematary film from the '90s, and he's not terrible here. He's kind of annoying in some spots, but usually child actors ruin the film. He doesn't ruin the film, but he certainly doesn't add really much anything to it positively for me. So, he's just kind of there. And the ending is just weird to me. But all in all, good Nightmare film. Like I said, well directed, well written. Wes Craven comes back in full force. I think this film just kind of missed the mark a little bit too much. It was not very well received in 1994. It had it come out in like 96 or 97 after Scream came out and everybody was all obsessed with Scream. Maybe it would have done better, but people just weren't ready for this kind of concept back then. And kind of like Halloween 3 has garnered a cult following, this one has as well. I think this is a much better quality film overall. I prefer watching this easily over every other movie I've mentioned so far. And despite Freddy Krueger himself not really being in the film, it's still a decent film, a decent addition to the Nightmare franchise, and kind of puts Freddy to rest for the little while, anyways, for the next 9 years until we get Freddy versus Jason. So, you know, good quality movie overall. Definitely worth the watch. Definitely recommend to anybody. And you don't need to watch any other Nightmare film in this franchise to enjoy this one because it kind of stands on its own. So, that's a bonus too. New Nightmare, good film. Not great, but definitely a good film. Number 14 is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. This is a great film. Way underrated. Super, super underrated. I'm a little upset I couldn't put this into my top 10, but there was no room for it. It's in the top 15. It's in it's past the halfway point, way past the halfway point. This is where we're really getting into the good shit now. I think a lot of people underestimate this film and put this film lower than it really is on their lists, or than it really should be on their lists. Freddy's Revenge is just a solid Nightmare on Elm Street film. Freddy is full on scary in this movie. He's the best Freddy we've ever gotten in terms of just straight up horror. He's awesome. No, really not any jokey quips in this movie from him. He's just straight up terrifying, and I love that about Freddy in this movie. He's the scariest he's ever been, and Scary Freddy is best Freddy. So let's be real here. Freddy Krueger is the strongest point in this movie. I know that the film kind of ignores the rules established in the first film, but Freddy vs. Jason kind of makes up for that because the possession power that Freddy is shown to have in this movie kind of makes a return in Freddy vs. Jason when he possesses the Jay and Silent Bob stoner guy. So it's not completely shown to be irrelevant for the rest of the franchise after this film. There's still some aspects of it that remain later on down the road. So it's cool for that. I don't know. Nightmare on Elm Street 2, more people should give it a chance. Super entertaining Nightmare film. It's in my top 4 favorite Nightmare movies. And from this film on, the franchise is just perfect. I love the Nightmare franchise from this film on. And this is my number 4 in my Freddy ranking. Go check that out. Like I said, the Nightmare franchise, Halloween franchise, Friday the 13th franchise, they're in the description. Click on them if you want more details about what I have to say about this movie. But yeah, this is where it sits. Number 14. Fucking awesome movie. Freddy's Revenge. The whole gay subtext, who cares? It's a well done film with likable characters and interesting kills, and Freddy's terrifying. And that pool scene, come on. Awesome. Number 13, Halloween 2 from 1981. Great quality Halloween film. I think this is my number 5 on my Halloween ranking list. And from this movie onward for the Halloween franchise, they're all fantastic films. I wouldn't skip any of them in a marathon. Great sequel. Fantastic sequel. Dick Warlock is portraying Michael Myers here. He moves a little bit too robotic for me, but he's still entertaining. As Michael, I like that they brought the original mask back from the first film, even though it's been sitting under Deborah Hill's bed for 3 years at this point, and just been kind of beaten to shit since then. It's still a great Michael Myers look with great Michael Myers moments. When he smashes through the glass security door like it's not even there. The nurse kill when he's dunking her head into the 200-degree Celsius water. What else is there? I like the brutality of Michael in this film. It's pretty awesome. Laurie Strode is kind of here nor there. She's just kind of doing her thing. There's not really much going for her in this film. She really doesn't even have much in terms of dialogue. But she's resilient here, I guess. That's one positive for her, maybe. Yeah. I don't know, just quality Halloween movie. Just watch it. Why wouldn't you? It's a good movie. And it takes place directly after Halloween 1, like to the second. So you can watch them back to back as one mega movie, and they fall into place perfectly together. And honestly, it's a good quality film, so it's worth doing that sometimes. I prefer to watch the 78 movie followed by the 2018 movie now, but this is a good addition to the franchise. The problem I have with this movie is the sibling elements they added to it. John Carpenter just wrote that shit in there last minute while he was drunk, just because he had no other ideas. And you can hear him say that he regrets doing it to this day. So I'm glad they retconned that in 2018. But because the sibling element never did anything for me. I didn't like that. I didn't like that they gave Michael a reason to do or a reason for doing what he does, because the scary aspect of Michael Myers is that he has no reason, and I prefer that. So, um, besides that, it's a good movie. Check it out if you haven't seen it. I mean, fuck, who hasn't seen this movie? It's a great fucking movie. Halloween 2, 1981 beats the shit out of Halloween 2, 2009. No fucking comparison. Number 12, Friday the 13th, the remake. Super underrated Friday the 13th film. Super, super underrated. Um, just quality Friday the 13th. Nothing really bad to be said about this movie. Besides the characters. The characters are absolute shit. Nobody likes the characters. But if you can get past the absolute terrible fucking, maybe the worst characters in the franchise, if you can get past those awful characters, this is arguably the best Jason in the franchise. The best opening sequence, the first 25 minutes of this movie is pure perfection. Jason is brutal as hell in this movie. He's super intelligent. He uses traps. He sets up little warning signs for him that when somebody's walking by his area, he's got like little bells set up so that when people are walking by and they trip the tripwire, a bell rings and Jason's alerted that someone's up there. He's dug tunnels around the lake to get around more efficiently. I mean, he uses bait to his advantage. He's incredibly intelligent. He's super resilient here. He's extremely strong, as he always fucking is. He's super fucking fast, and he's durable as hell. He's just an all-out force in this movie. And he's not even zombified Jason here. He's just straight up like human-ish kind of Jason, and he's still a fucking tank. So Derek Mears plays an amazing Jason in this film. I hope he comes back again. He was perfect. So, badass fucking Jason. Love Jason here. And the way he gets his hockey mask is pretty cool. Yeah. Good Friday the 13th film. I think besides the characters, which are very unlikable and shit, people should give this more of a chance. It's in the middle of my ranking because I'm a diehard Friday the 13th fan. So I'm obviously going to like the originals a hell of a lot better than this one, and they are way better than this one, but it's still worth watching this one, especially if you're a newcomer. I feel like if you're a newcomer to the Friday the 13th franchise, you'd probably get into this film a lot easier. Like, if you've gotten into the Friday franchise within the last decade or so, I consider you a newcomer, and you're gonna definitely like this movie a lot more than someone of my in my situation where I've been a fan for 25, 26 years. So this film was kind of after my time, so I don't have quite an affection for it the same as I do the older films. But if you're not in my position, then that's irrelevant for you. So you can kind of look past that and enjoy this film more for what it is. And if you can get past the shit characters, this is just a genuinely good quality Friday movie. So, great kills, lots of fun. Jason's a badass. Number 11, Friday the 13th Part 2. I wanted to put this in my top 10, but I couldn't. There was no room. This movie just barely got edged out, though. I really love this film. Sackhead Jason is clumsy because, look at that shit. He can't see fucking shit in that thing. That burlap sack has one little hole in it, and it's barely any room for your eye to move. So obviously he's going to be, I kind of justify his clumsiness in this movie to that. But, it's a good follow-up to the Friday the 13th original, considering it shits all over that movie. And it's genuinely kind of a creepy atmospheric tone to it. There's some cool kills, like the shish kebab kill and the machete to the face for Mark, the guy in the wheelchair. How he dies is pretty insane. Jason is all around just scary-ish in this game. Hermit Jason with a burlap sack. He doesn't have the hockey mask yet, but he's still kind of scary in this movie, even though he is clumsy. It's the Jason jumping through the window at the end, even though it is a dream sequence, so it never actually happens. But when he jumps through the window at Ginny at the end there with his mask off, terrifying fucking scene. A lot of fun. Ginny's a great final girl. Yeah, You can't deny that. If not the best or second best final girl in the franchise, Jenny's fucking amazing. Um, yeah. More detail, like I said, go check out my Friday the 13th ranking. I gotta get through this list though. Okay, here we go. Top 10. Let's do this shit. First movie to make it in the top 10 is Halloween H2O. Just a genuinely good time. I just have a lot of fun with this movie. There's nothing I can say about it that's, you know, disappointing. Besides maybe Michael's mask and Chris Duran's portrayal of Michael, the CGI mask, shit. But the characters are good. Laurie Strode is written pretty well. She's a badass at the end of this film in Act 3 when she goes up against Michael mano a mano. Like, come on. That's fucking rad. Um, just a great movie. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of Scream in this film because Scream 1 and 2 were already out for 1 and 2 years, respectively, by the time this movie came out. But so obviously they're going to capitalize on the fact that Scream is popular by making it Scream-ish. It's the most Scream out of all the Halloween movies. But man, if Resurrection didn't retcon the ending of this film too, it would be a pretty nuts fucking ending. The way they ended this film was ballsy. I gotta give them credit for that. It's just a fun time. I love the atmospheric tone of this film, and yeah, it's fun. What can I say? I like to. Why do we watch movies if not to have fun? And this is a fun movie, so why would it be low on the list? I guess people don't like it for the Scream aspects, but I don't. I could give two fucks. I'm not even that big of a Scream fan, and I like it for that, despite that shit. So more people should give this one a chance. And I don't really understand, or I can't really relate to people who put this lower on the list. It definitely belongs, I think, in my top 10. I love this film. And it was the first Halloween I ever saw in theaters, so maybe there's nostalgia for me there. Um, but I definitely think it's a good time. Number 9. Oh, fucking can't see this shit either because my fat head's in the way again. But yeah, number 9, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Um, fucking love this movie. There's nothing really bad to be said about this movie. Rachel is an amazing final girl. Jamie Lloyd is a compelling character. She's a great child actress. Danielle Harris, amazing job as a child actress. She was only 11 years old when this movie was being made, so you got to give her credit for that. She did a fantastic job, and the atmosphere. Again, atmosphere is everything as far as movies and games go, and this movie has so much atmosphere. Just the opening sequence alone, atmospheric as hell. Michael's mask is shit, but if you put that aside, Michael is a force in this movie. He's super powerful in this movie. I love that kill when he kills Kelly with the shotgun by impaling her with the shotgun and then ramming it through the wall behind her as well. Like, you know how much force it takes to be able to do that? That's probably his most impressive feat of strength that he's got in any of these movies, to be honest. I think that's more impressive than deadlifting a car like he does in Rob Zombie's H2. You know, it probably takes a lot more strength to shove a shotgun through a person and a wall than it does to deadlift a car. I mean, I've seen dudes deadlift cars. I've never seen someone shove a shotgun through a wall. Like, that's pretty nuts. He can crush skulls with his bare hands, shoves his thumb through the paramedic's skull in the first act of the film. Michael's just a force in this movie. He's so badass. And the atmosphere, and Rachel, and Jamie, and Sam Loomis's performance is unbelievable. Donald Pleasance does an amazing job in this movie. He's just Halloween 1, 2, and 4. Donald Pleasance is unreal. It's fucking amazing. Halloween 4 doesn't belong any lower than this. It's one of the best in the whole freaking Halloween franchise. Number 8, Freddy vs. Jason. The most fun movie, I think, in all 3 franchises. Just because I've seen this movie probably more than, I'd say, every movie on this list, except for maybe 2 or 3 films. But yeah, I've seen this movie close to 130, 140 times, and it never gets boring for me. This is the definitive versus film. Now, I've already talked about this one twice in depth in my Nightmare and my Friday ranking, so I'm not going to say much else about this film besides the fact that it's a lot of fun. Jason and Freddy are fucking awesome, and watch this damn movie. It's amazing. Freddy vs. Jason is the shit. Number 7, Friday the 13th, Part 3, 3D. Holy fuck, this is a high position for this movie. This film is the only movie in the history of films that scared me as a kid. I saw nothing but horror movies when I was a child. I had an affinity for horror movies. I love horror movies. I still do to this day, obviously. But as a child, horror movies were like the be-all, end-all for me. I just wanted to watch horror films. And none of them really scared me except for this one. Chris is also my favorite final girl. The fact that she's able to survive a literal one-on-one counter versus Jason, and that she's all alone. As soon as Rick dies in this movie, Chris is by herself versus Jason. And fun fact, she's the only final girl to ever do that. To ever go head-to-head with Jason one-on-one with nobody else around to help her out. Ali is still technically alive until Jason kills him at the very end, but he's unconscious for the whole thing. So he doesn't count either. She's on her own the whole frickin' movie. Totally, that's terrifying in itself. But then you have the ending scenes when he's staring at her through the window and getting all excited and pumped up to see her because he knows he's gonna fuck her up now. And that sneer on his face, and then when he bursts through the fucking door and rips it off the hinges, and he's just looking at her, smiling, that's one of the most terrifying scenes I've ever seen. Jason is genuinely scary as fuck in this movie. And I think the reason for that is because I watched this when I was 4 or 5 years old for the first time, and it gave me nightmares for the next, 20 years. Jason's genuinely frightening in this movie. So... And Richard Brooker's performance is just unreal. The downsides, I will admit, Act 2 is very, 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 very slow. Probably the slowest in all of the movies in all franchises, to be honest. It's a super slow-paced Act 2. So I get why people put this movie lower on the list. The 3D really has nothing going against it and nothing really going for it these days. I don't care that stuff's getting thrown at the screen in our face all the fucking time. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't take me out of the film. I never really gave a fuck about that. I just like the tone of this film, how scary Jason is. I like Chris as a final girl and how resilient she is and how she's the only chick to ever fight Jason one-on-one and come out on top. That's fucking crazy. And, Richard Brooker's a fantastic Jason. And this is where we get the hockey mask. I mean, come on. This movie's got so much going for it, and people always put it so low on their lists. I don't get it. This is like slasher quality at its finest. Part 3 is so underrated. It's probably the most underrated film in the whole franchise. It's fucking awesome. I love this movie. More people need to give this one a fucking real chance, because Jason is just amazing in this film. If Act 2, once you get past Act 2, it's just nonstop an amazing time. So, Part 3, fucking awesome. Number 6, Jason Lives, Part 6, Friday the 13th, Part 6. I wanted to put this in my top 5, but again, couldn't fucking do it. There are just 5 films that just slightly edge this one out, but I just have an absolute blast with Jason Lives. What can I say? The film in itself is a joke. It knows what it is, and it makes fun of itself, but it never makes fun of the character Jason. That's the thing that separates this film from movies like Freddy's Dead and Halloween Resurrection, movies that make fun of the killers in the movie themselves. The movies are jokes, including this one, but the difference is Jason is still a force, and he's taken very seriously in this film, and Freddy is a joke in Freddy's Dead. Michael is a joke in Resurrection. That's what separates the good jokey films to the shit jokey films. Jason Lives is just a great fucking time. What can I say? Tom Matthews is awesome as Tommy Jarvis. Yeah, the acting isn't the greatest, but it's a Friday the 13th fucking film. What do you want? There never has been good acting in any of the Friday movies. Friday the 13th, of the 3 franchises, you can't argue that Friday the 13th is the schlockiest. slasher. It's the shittiest quality shoestring budget fucking type movie. There's nothing really super quality about the franchise. They're just movies made for fun. And this movie is a fucking blast. So yeah, Jason Lives. Wish I could put it at the top of my list, but it's my second favorite Friday movie. So what can I say? I still fucking love this movie. I think it should be in my top five, but I mean, with the movies that are in my top five, couldn't help but put it at number six. So Jason Lives, fucking awesome. Zombie Jason for the first time. C.J. Graham does a great job portraying Jason, and best Tommy Jarvis in the whole franchise. So what more do you want? Plus a great final girl with Megan, and Jason folds a dude in half. I mean, fuck, this movie's awesome. Number five, the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Holy fuck, this is okay. Now the top five movies are perfect. Let's just get that out of the way. The top five movies are perfect films. They're just slightly, like, one after the other is slightly better than the last in my mind. But the original Nightmare on Elm Street is perfection on screen. Like, Wes Craven knocked it out of the fucking park. Freddy Krueger is terrifying. Nancy Thompson is an amazing final girl. And the concept of Freddy Krueger and what he does in your dreams is legitimately scary and is extremely original and fresh. The kills are elaborate and creative. The set designs that they had, super effective. There's not really anything bad to say about this movie except for the ending. The ending kind of sucks with the whole Nancy's mom becomes a doll and gets shoved through the door. She doesn't actually become a doll, but you can tell it's a fucking doll. It looks like shit. Nancy retracting her fear of Freddy Krueger, which makes him lose his powers, but doesn't really make him lose his powers because he's still able to do stuff at the very end after she's retracted her fear. I don't know. The ending doesn't really make sense, but it's not a Wes Craven ending. That's a Bob Shank ending or a Bob Shane ending. That's the fucking problem. Was don't shit on the original creator's work. Everything up to the end about this movie is perfect, and then the Wes Craven stuff drops off, and it becomes a Bob Shane thing for the last 10 minutes, and it's the least good part of the movie. So that's too bad. But besides that, perfect fucking movie. Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. Anybody who hasn't seen this is insane. Watch this fucking movie if you haven't. Because, come on, one of the best horror movies ever made, easily. And number four, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, or Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. The best movie in the Nightmare franchise. The characters are all lovable. Kincaid is probably my favorite character in the franchise. Freddy is a healthy mix of comedic Freddy meets evil, scary Freddy. His one-liners in this, like "Where's the fucking bourbon" and "Welcome to Primetime, Bitch," are memorable as hell and extremely quotable. I mean, "Welcome to Primetime, Bitch" was an off-the-cuff line that Robert Englund came up with himself. So, and they kept it in the film. And guess what? It is probably the most iconic line ever spoken by Freddy Krueger. So, just a perfect film. The setting and the environment and the atmosphere to this film is awesome. The kills are amazing. Yeah. What can you say about this film that's really negative? Again, watch my Nightmare on Elm Street ranking video if you haven't already. I go into detail about what I like about this film and what I don't like. And what I don't like, there's really not much about this film I don't like. It's just a perfect time all the way through. Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Fucking Dawkins, Dream Warriors. Come on. As soon as you hear that clean tone, clean guitar riff intro, boom, you're in for a fucking treat. The song is awesome. The movie is awesome. Patricia Arquette is a fantastic final girl with Kristen. Sucks what they did to her with Nightmare 4, but let's exclude that for now. Just specifically about this movie, you got Kristen, you got Kincaid, and you got Nancy back. Between those three characters and Freddy, this is a perfect fucking movie. Dream Warriors should be watched by everybody, and, I mean, come on, it's a fucking blast. Best Nightmare on Elm Street film. I would be honestly extremely surprised if it's ever dethroned, because it's that high quality. But number three is the original Halloween. I'm going to get shit on so hard because it's not my number one, but I'm a fucking Jason guy, okay? As far as, like, the characters go, I already said, Jason's my number one, and Freddy and Michael are neck and neck at number two, and then every other slasher after that. I don't give a fuck about anybody else. I like the big three because they're my boys, because they're the ones that I got into as a child from the beginning. I got into all three of these guys around the same time, I think even in the same year. And actually, this is the first horror movie I ever saw, was Halloween 3. Or, sorry, Halloween 1. But what can I say? Perfect film. I just like two movies a little bit better than this one, but it's still a perfect movie. Can't really. The top five are all perfect. Like I said, there's not really anything bad about any of the top five. I just like one's slightly higher than the others. What can you say about this movie? This is where all three of these franchises started. This film inspired Friday the 13th, which is, partially responsible for A Nightmare on Elm Street being so successful, because the slasher craze was so big thanks to this movie and Friday the 13th. So, all three franchises have this movie to thank for them. Yeah, Michael Myers, terrifying in this film, the way that he should be. There's no sibling element yet. So Michael's just completely doing things for no reason. He's genuinely scary for that reason. The writing and the directing is amazing. John Carpenter is amazing for doing this. This is easily his best film I think he's ever made. I like it better than the Thing remake. It's just a flawless horror movie, and anyone who hasn't seen the original Halloween is out of their fucking mind and needs to watch it now, because it's timeless. It's a classic. It's this one and A Nightmare on Elm Street 1 are probably the two films you can say on this list that are true, unadulterated classics. I think no other film on this list has the right to say that. In terms of film quality and filmmaking and direction and writing, Halloween and A Nightmare on Elm Street are the best in those objective aspects. But this one is still not my favorite for the fact that it's a little bit dated. That's all. It's just dated. It's 42 fucking years old as of the making of this video I'm doing right now. So, yeah, even though I still have a blast with it and I have so much nostalgia for it because it's the first horror movie I ever saw, and I love Michael Myers, it's just not as fun as the next two on my list. But that's not saying anything against this movie. There's nothing I can say against this movie. So, talk shit about my ranking list all you want, but I'm not saying anything negative about this movie. It's a perfect film. I just have more fun with my top two than I do with this one. That's all it is. My number two is Halloween 2018. I enjoy this one more than the original, just a little bit more, just because it's not dated. It's fresh. I've seen this one 13 or 14 times now, and it's the most fun I've ever had with a Halloween film. The most fun I've ever had with a Halloween film, for sure. Michael Myers is, again, terrifying once again. In the original and in this movie, he's the scariest he's ever been. His mask is the best it's ever looked. I mean, this is the best mask Michael's ever had. I think even over the William Shatner mask from the original. This mask is fucking perfection. I love this thing. James Jude Courtney being Michael Myers is fucking unbelievable. David Gordon Green directing this film is a true Halloween fan. Danny McBride writing this film is a true Halloween fan. This is made by Halloween fans for Halloween fans, and it's made with love and passion, and you can tell that they made it with love and passion just by watching it. Yeah, there are some shit scenes with Dr. Sartain. Fuck that scene. I'm not a big fan of it. There's a couple jokes that don't really land very well, but that's all forgivable shit. Those scenes last, 1 to 2 minutes, and then the rest of the movie is just fucking flawless. Everything about it is flawless. The kills are awesome. Michael is brutal. He's a perfect mix between the original Michael and Rob Zombie's Michael. He's a perfect mix. And yeah, you can't say anything bad about this film, really, besides those, tiny little issues that people have. Maybe they don't like the ending either, but, I'm thinking Halloween Kills is going to increase the quality of the ending of this film anyways when that movie comes out, which should have already been out. It's a damn shame it's not out yet, but fucking COVID, right? Just people need to get those negative thoughts out of their minds for this fucking movie, because they need to realize that this is a passion project. It wasn't done for money. It was done because they wanted to make a sequel to the Halloween franchise because they love the Halloween franchise, and it's like the most well produced and biggest budget fan film of all time. I feel like what this is. It's such a love letter. It's a real love letter, and um, it's the most fun the Halloween franchise has to offer. I fucking love this movie. I will never stop loving this movie. I really would be surprised if Halloween Kills is even half as good as this. This is a fucking amazing return to form. I love that they got rid of the sibling element. Fuck that. Um, Great fucking movie through and through. But my number one will always be my boy, Jason fucking Voorhees. He is my number one. He always will be my number one. Jason is the coolest character ever put on screen, as far as I'm concerned. Maybe up there with Batman, but Jason is. I don't know. I'm a fanboy when it comes to Jason. I really am. Friday the 13th, the final chapter, which is part 4, is definitively, in my opinion, the greatest slasher film ever written or ever made. Sorry. You can argue that the original Halloween movie isn't really necessarily a straight up slasher film. It's more suspense driven. Nightmare on Elm Street, it has more of a fantasy aspect to it with the slasher elements. But this film is as slasher as it fucking gets. And it's perfection on screen. You have a list of lovable characters with quotable lines. Like, Ted, where's the hell's the corkscrew? Want to give Teddy Bear a kiss? Fucking, you don't, remember, Jimbo, try not to be a dead fuck. Well, there is no computer. Fucking, come on. Oh my God, he's killing me. He's killing me. There's so many fucking quotes. And it doesn't even have anything to do with Jason. Those are just the characters on the screen. We love watching these characters interact with each other. They're awesome, fun characters to watch. Corey Feldman does a great job portraying Tommy Jarvis for the first time. He's like the first time Jason's ever really had a true nemesis. He is to Jason what Nancy Thompson is to Freddy, and what Laurie Strode is to Michael. And it's nice to give Jason that, and he gets that in this movie. And this is where Jason kind of dies, sort of, for the first time. I mean, he doesn't really die. He comes back in part 6, but he's put out of commission for many years, anyways. Thanks to Tommy Jarvis. And the way he is, like, the practical effects are unbelievable. Tom Savini is at the top of his fucking game. He's coming back from the original Friday the 13th to do the effects in this movie, and they're just amazing. I'll always love practical effects over CGI. I'm old school that way, and this movie does that shit perfectly. Friday the 13th, the final chapter, is the best slasher movie, straight up slasher movie ever made. It's drenched in atmosphere. Jason is the most brutal fucking beast he's ever been. Ted White's portrayal of Jason is top tier Jason portrayal. You can't deny that. This movie is just a blast to watch from front to back. Friday the 13th, final chapter. I will always put it at my number one list. It's the movie I've seen probably the most. Well, not probably. Definitely the most out of all the films on this list. And I'll never stop watching it. I just have a blast with this film. Part 4, Friday the 13th. Best slasher ever made. What can I say? Trish is a great final girl. Come on, let's be honest here. There's nothing really bad about this movie. Besides the fact that it's just schlock on the screen. We love these movies for that reason, so that's not even a detriment to the movie. So, you can say, yeah, it's just schlock on the screen. Well, fucking every movie on this list is basically schlock, except for, I guess, Halloween. That franchise is done with a budget. Friday is done with the least budget. Of the 3 franchises, this franchise is done with the least amount of budget, and it still manages to top my list. I don't give a fuck about budget. I just want to see some good kills and some fucking fun characters and some entertainment and shit. And this is an extremely entertaining movie. Jason is top fucking notch in this movie. The kills are top fucking notch in this movie. Like, come on. The corkscrew kill, the fucking spear gun kill, the face against the back of the bathroom wall when he kills Doug through the shower. Just everything. The first 2 kills in the movie with the nurse when he stabs her in the sternum and he starts ripping her, like cutting her fucking from top to bottom. And then one of the best kills in the franchise when he kills Axel, the coroner, by slicing his throat and then spinning his head full all the way around. Like, fucking awesome kill. Beautiful fucking movie. It's amazing. Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. Everybody should watch this shit. It's the best in all three franchises, in my opinion. Yeah, that's it for my list. Anybody fucking who hasn't liked, comment, subscribe, please do so. I'd appreciate it. And thanks for tuning in. Everybody stay safe and keep rocking out, and happy Halloween.